When the Atari Flashback Gold 50th edition arrived, I was impressed with this cute little machine. It came pre-installed with many of the games I enjoyed playing as a child, and far more than I ever owned back in the day. There's 130 in total. During my testing of the Atari Flashback Gold, I did find a few areas that could be improved. I mentioned the issues directly to AtGames, and these were: the paddle movement wasn't consistent. When moving the paddles on the left 2/3 of the screen, the paddles were fine. However, on the right, the motion slowed down quite a bit. This made it very difficult to play most paddle games. Secondly, with the paddles connected to the left port and the joystick connected to the right, once in a paddle game, it wasn't possible to return back to the main menu unless you swapped the joystick back to the left side or reset the machine. Those were the main issues I sent over to AtGames, and to my amazement, not only did they listen to the feedback, they fixed the issues to make their device the best it can be. I was blown away personally. Not many companies will go out of their way to make improvements like this. AtGames has provided the updated firmware so that I can share it with you and how to apply it to your Atari Flashback Gold 50th edition. Keep in mind this firmware was designed exclusively for the Gold 50th anniversary. If you have another Flashback, this firmware upgrade was not designed for it. If I go too fast in this video, all of the steps are outlined in the written Atari Flashback Gold 50th edition guide with links to everything. You'll find a link below and in the video description so you can easily follow along. Additionally, you'll find far more information to help you get the most out of your Atari Flashback Gold 50th. In the upper right, I'll also provide a link to my full review after applying the firmware update that we're going to discuss and install. I'm John, and welcome to Wagner's Tech Talk. On your Flashback Gold 50th, move down to About and check that the version is AR3080-V1.0.0. If it is, then you'll want to continue with the update process. You will need a tool to extract a .rar file. I recommend the free 7-zip tool if you don't already have something to extract this type of archive. You'll then want to download the two files, AndroidTool.zip and AtariUpdate.img, from the AtGames website. You can find both links in the firmware update section of the guide. Keep in mind the .img file name may be different than what you see here. Right-click on the AndroidTool.zip and select Extract All, then click the Extract button. Navigate into the Android Tool folder a couple levels until you see the AndroidTool.rar file. Right-click that. If you're using Windows 11, click Show More Options, then select 7-zip and Extract To. Next, right-click on the Driver Assistant.zip. Again, select Extract All and the Extract button. Navigate into the Driver Assistant folder, then double-click the Driver Install.exe, click the Install Driver button. Once installed, click the OK button, and go ahead and close out of Driver Assistant. Now navigate into the Android Tool folder, then the Android Tool Release subfolder, and double-click the AndroidTool.exe. At this point, the Android tool will report no devices found. We'll take care of that next. You'll see a small reset hole on the bottom of the console and a micro USB port on the back. These two locations are key for the following steps. You will need a micro USB to USB Type A cable like this one. Plug the USB-A in into your PC. You can use a 1.5 Allen wrench, very small jeweler's screwdriver, or perhaps a paperclip to get a feel for how to press the reset button. I'll use this small flathead screwdriver as it's a little easier for me. This part can be a little bit tricky. Make sure the power is in the off position, then plug in the micro USB cable from your PC into the back of the device. Then place a finger over the on-off switch, and while pressing in on the reset button and holding, flip the power switch to the on position. Hold the reset button for a few seconds until you see Found One Loader Device. Once you do, you can then release the reset button. Up at the top, click the Upgrade Firmware button. Then click the Firmware button and browse to the location where you downloaded the Atari update.img file. Select it and click the Open button. Then click the Upgrade button. The upgrade process will then start and update the firmware in the Flashback Gold 50th. Once the update is complete, you'll see no devices found. You can go ahead and disconnect the USB cable and close out of the Android tool. Now plug everything up, including the joystick to the right port and the two paddles on the left side of the console. Plug in the power and HDMI. Then flip the power switch to the on position. Now we'll verify the firmware update was successful by going into About and check that the version now reads AR3080_V1.1.0. Now we'll navigate to the Paddle Games category and select the game you want to play. I'll select Activision's Kaboom. Press the game reset switch and then the fire button on the paddle to start the game. Now you'll find the paddle movement is perfectly consistent across the screen. To exit the game, press the menu button on the joystick, move down to Quit Game, press A, or press the fire button. Without this firmware update, you wouldn't be able to press the menu button here to return back to the main game selection menu without moving the stick over to the left port, but now you can. That brings us to the end of another video. I hope you've seen that the firmware update shown in this video provides some usability improvements that make the Atari Flashback Gold 50th much better. I want to express a huge thank you to AtGames for providing this update. It makes the device so much more fun to play. If you enjoyed this video or found it helpful, please let me know by clicking the like button. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel and want to see more content like this in the future, I hope you'll consider doing so. And with that, I look forward to talking with you again very soon.